Whether you are eyeing roles like Cloud Architect, Network Engineer, or AWS Solutions Architect, mastering AWS DNS management is key. In today's video, we are going to break things down step by step. We'll walk you through the basics of AWS Route 53, showing you how to easily set up and manage your domain names. We will simplify concepts like DNS records, health checks, and routing policies, and take you through advanced topics like weighted routing, failover routing, and geolocation routing, so you can make smart, informed decisions. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how to use Route 53 for high availability and efficient DNS management. Also, if you are aiming for similar roles in AWS or feeling unsure about where to begin, don't miss our 90-minute free AWS job-oriented masterclass. In this session, our experts will walk you through a proven 3-step strategy and a clear roadmap that has helped professionals like Ranga and Kennedy land their dream cloud jobs. So click the link below to register and get started. And today's video is a part of our AWS job-oriented program, so let's dive in.
Now, next we have the Route 53. So Route 53 is DNS. So if on-prem you have DNS, so similarly we have AWS Route 53 in AWS, which is our domain name system service, which will translate your domain name into IP addresses. And it is a backbone of the internet. You can register, you can create your domain names using Route 53. Let me erase this. Next we talk about terminology. So this is the terminology when we talk about DNS. So you can see it is the general one, right? So not with respect to only Route 53. Yeah, yes, this DNS and that for Route 53. So you can see domain registrars we have first, which is our Route 53, Amazon Route 53 and GoDaddy and others as well. So the domain registrar basically says that a service provided to register your domain name. Think of like you are buying something, right? Let's say you're buying any particular product from somewhere. So from where you are doing that? You are doing it from Amazon or for GoDaddy. So these will provide you the service. Now, the records. These are the records. What are the records we have? Records are the instructions that tells DNS how to handle a domain. So you have first a record, then we have IP address, then we have CNAME. You are choosing any alias, right? So simply you are using some instructions as a records, which will tell how to handle the domain. Simple. Now, next we have is contain DNS record. This is the file. So this file stored a DNS server containing all the DNS records for a domain. Now, next we have is domain name server. The domain name server, the DNS server that responds to the DNS queries can be authoritative, like your final source, or a non-authoritative server, that is cache answer. Next we have is top level domain. Top level domain, the ending of the domain, like your .com, .us, .in, all, right? So these TLD you have. Second level domain are like Amazon.com, Google.com, anything in place of this. So this is second, these are SLDs, simple. So you can see the root. This is TLD, this is SLD, subdomain, and the complete domain name, right? And here you use protocol, which will help you to manage your request, right? To provide you the response accordingly. And it will be secure or what? That's how it is. Now, I hope it is clear to everyone. So we will discuss here as we are on AWS. So we will discuss about AWS. So next we have is how it works. So how DNS works? First you have web server. So first you have web browser. Let's say if you are using a web page, right? You are clicking upon a link. You want to display the web page. So in that case, of course, where the request is going. So the request goes to, let's say you're trying to access the example.com as per this example, right? So here, first you are trying to access it via browser. So this goes to your local DNS server. Now, this local DNS server, like which is assigned and managed by your company or assigned by your ISP dynamically. So first of all, first it checks the cache, DNS cache, the browser or OS level. If it is not found, it will proceed with next step, right? So if web server, it is the request goes to this domain and it is not there, so it will check it in local DNS server, which is your ISP or corporate resolver. It is usually here, it is usually your ISP's DNS. Like for example, either you are using Airtel or you are using Geo or corporate resolver, act like as a DNS middleman. Simple. If the IP is cached, TTL not expired, it will return the IP. Okay. Like the request goes and it will resolve that. Simple. So it goes to, so your local DNS ask root DNS server where I can find .com domains, right? So because it is talking about, this is root DNS server can help you in that only, as we have discussed in previous slide. So it is looking for .com. Now it will reply. Here are the its domain name server, and it is providing you the response. Next we have is TLD. Now it will go to TLD DNS server. So this TLD DNS server here, it will ask, local DNS ask, where is the example.com? Because it is asking for the same. So example.com, now it is going to respond accordingly, provide the IP. Then again, it will ask, where is the SLD? And accordingly, it will respond, right? And that's how you return IP, it returns IP to the browser. The IP address, you can see which is highlighted here. It is return to the local DNS, then to your browser. Browser now contact the web server. And yes, you are successfully connected. So each DNS response come with TTL. With TTL, let's, for example, let's say 300 seconds set TTL time to leave. That means the result is cached for 5 minutes future lookups. So that will help. I hope this is clear how your DNS works. I hope it is clear. Clear to everyone? Yes. Okay, I got one question. Yes, I can repeat DNS records. I hope the other things are clear. How it works, it is clear to everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Let me erase. It's perfect. Thank you, Satish. To others as well, it is clear. Great. Thank you. Okay, fine. So now I got one more response. Yeah. Yes, DNS records. Let me explain it first. So when you are talking about Route 53, let's say, okay, so Route 53, let's say DNS. So let's say if you are trying to browse, you are hosting a website, okay, hosting a website, let's say again example.com. So this example.com, that is A record, right? So A record, so that domain is converted into your IP address, right? Like either it is EC2s or load balancer, right? So let me tell you the difference between all records first. We have many records. Okay, how? Let me show you. A we have, CNAME we have. Okay, 4 times A we have. Okay, so what are the DNS record? A is your A represent the address record, which maps a domain name to IPv4 address, right? So that's why when we are selecting A here, it is providing you the IP, right? Now, next record, let's say you are using 4 times A. If you are selecting this, it is for IPv6 address record. It maps your domain to IPv6 address. Then your domain will, then if you are choosing this, it will provide you an IPv6 for that particular domain. Let's say if you are choosing CNAME. So CNAME is your canonical name, means it will create the alias from one name to another domain name. For example, www.example.com to example.com, right? So any alias name it can create, it can be anything. Now, other is your name server. That specifies authoritative, okay? DNS servers for your domains. For example, like who authorized your request. So for example.com, you have requested, you want to map. So it will be mapped to your name server dot route53.com, right? So that's how it can be done. Now, other many records we have. So each has different use case. So what is your use case? You can select that record and then accordingly you can map your domain into your IP address. Okay, so of course we are not going to discuss all. At least you got an idea how the domain name records can be used, right? I hope it is clear. So records are your entries in your zone file that tell the DNS system how to route your traffic for a domain. So accordingly, if you're selecting the record, it will provide you the response. That's how it is. Now, yes, okay. I hope it is clear to everyone. Thank you so much for your responses. I got one more question in chat that what do you mean by cache for 300 seconds? 300 second is TTL time for your response. Okay, Renault. Right, like for example, let's say a DNS record is your like your IP address, right? As I already specified. So you browse your browser or your DNS resolver ask for that particular IP address. Once it is received, it caches, means it stores that answer temporarily, right? The temporarily that will be TTL. So you set it 300 seconds. So for next 5 minutes, any request to your example.com will use the cached IP and not ask the DNS again. So after 5 minutes, the cache expires and the resolver asks the DNS server again. So that's how we set this 300-second TTL, right? Got it? I hope you got it. Understood? Thank you so much. Sorry, Ray. I'm sorry. I got confused between Ray and Renault. Thank you. Let's go next. Now, next we have is Why we need Route 53? So yes, of course, the similar to DNS to handle all the requests through port 53, and it is a reliable and cost-effective solution provided by AWS, and it can connect all user requests to the infra which is running in AWS. Like client needs something, client request to Route 53, provide me an IP, and then send your request inside AWS either through CloudFront or through any particular service. Yes, it is easily possible. So that's why we need Route 53. Now, next we have is working of Route 53. Similarly, similar to your DNS, when the request is made in your browser, you are trying to access any particular web page, then DNS resolver does it. Its work means resolve your IP into domain, and then accordingly, the IP will be provided or domain will be mapped, and accordingly, it works. You can see first step, request made. Second, go to the around 53 name server. First root name server, then TLD works, then SLD, and yes, you got your response. Means your IP address back in response. Now, so we have two hosted zones in Route 53. This public hosted zone means public hosted zone. I'm searching for Facebook. I'm searching for LinkedIn. Okay, I'm typing in the browser. I'm able to access, and of course, if I ask you to access any particular domain, will you be able to access? Yes, of course, you will be able to access that. So that is that all domains you can consider as created via public hosted zone, which are publicly available. Any person outside AWS can easily access those domains, right? Then we have private hosted zone. Let's say, for example, I'm using this EC2. Let's say I have my instances running. Host. So it will show all my instances. So let's say here, this is my Linux instance, right? So this Linux instance here, I have added a web page script. So once it is ready, so we can just copy the IP of this particular Linux server anywhere, public IP. I will paste it here in another tab. It will launch a web page, right? Fine. Now I would like to use, I have Linux server in AWS, right? Now in my account. So here I have my web page running. Now, this is my Route 53. I have created my private hosted zone. I have created the domain using private hosted zone rather than public, right? Because of course you have to purchase that. So now this on this Linux server, I have my web page. Here I have my web page. Now, after creating this hosted zone, so it is private. So will it accept public? No, we have to add public IP here. Okay, this IP will be mapped. This particular IP of this Linux server will be mapped into this particular domain. So the domain I have created is, let's say, AWS dot ashnur.com. Okay, now, so it is this domain is mapped into this particular IP, which I have mentioned while creating private hosted zone. I have selected A records, that is Fine for my use case. Now, if private hosted zone, using private hosted zone, if I have created this domain, if I ask you to copy it here in this particular browser, the public browser, will it work? No, it will not work. Why? Because I have created it using private hosted zone. So now, if it will not work, so there's no use. But yes, I want to manage all my resources, all my data internally, right? I don't want to expose my things outside. So that's why I have created private hosted zone. So for my organization, for internal use, I have created this domain so that any employee can use that. Now I have created another server. What is that server? Windows server. Okay. So using that, I have created RDP connection, remote desktop, right? So that RDP is, you can say, private, right? Right or not? Because within AWS, where you have selected your VPC, everything, all basic networking stuff selected, subnet selected, where you have launched this server. Now, if your desktop is ready, it will request you are going to paste this domain on this remote desktop, which is ready. And yes, when you paste this in browser, yes, it is working successfully. It is displaying, it is launching your web page. Got it? So this is the difference between your private hosted zone and public hosted zone. Right? Got it? I hope it is clear to everyone. Clear to everyone? Perfect. Thank you so much. So it's all about that. So let's go next. And here we are. Let me erase this now. Maybe 1 minute. So this is an important topic. That's why I'm explaining it like this. And let me show you Route 3 also, how we can create. Now, we have routing policies. Yes, that also matters. So let's discuss routing policies and then we will switch to the console. Routing policies, we have all routing policies, simple. We have geo proximity, we have weighted multi-value. So how you can select which type of policy? Then again, what is your use case? Yes, accordingly, you can select any policy. Are you aware about any of the policy mentioned here? Any for normal DNS, if you have ever studied? Anyone can respond in chat? Okay, fine. So let me explain. Okay, I'm getting some response. Great. No. Okay, I think you have never gone through. Fine. So let me explain these policies. So first, we have a simple routing policy. So what do you mean by simple routing policy? If you have a single web page, you want to route your traffic to. So in that case, yes, you can use this policy, simple policy. So you can specify multiple values in the same record, whatever you need. Let's say you're trying to access your Amazon.com and you want to map your IP. So yes, it can be done using simple routing. So it maps a domain to a single resource. For example, like one IP or load balancer. Let's say you have small blog hosted your a single hosted their web page on a single instance behind a load balancer, right? So that can be done using simple routing policy. So while creating your hosted zone, you select that, right? You select your policy. Now, next we have is weighted routing policy. So weighted, you are mentioning the weight. You want to balance the load, right? So you want to direct your traffic 90% weighted traffic towards this region, 10% weighted traffic to new production, because existing production you trust more. So 90% is there. But you are shifting your traffic now. So slowly you are moving that. So that's how you can use weighted routing policy, right? For example, blue, green, for canary. So it can be done. Now, next routing policy we have is latency based. So you know that you need, of course, you have lowest latency to this particular region, right? And for, you can see 76 milliseconds latency to this particular region. So here it sends your users to the region that gives the lowest latency based upon AWS latency measurements. Let's say global gaming platform. So the gaming platform which hosts the instances into US East 1 and EU West 2 due to better latency, right? So here the gamer in Germany would routed their request to this, right? And the global platform hosted these instances in these two regions. So, but where they are getting very low latency, they are directing their users there, right? That's how it is. For example, if you are trying to access anything, so in that case, you will route, for example, you are sitting in, let's say, India, in any particular region. So the gaming platform, of course, you will direct your request to the region where your end user is sitting, right? So that will provide minimum latency. Now, next we have is failover, the most important policy. Failover, when by the name suggested, is active passive, first of all. Where it routes your traffic, DNS request made and failover, it will check the health of the instances. So it will route the traffic to the primary resource. If it fails, health check fails, the traffic goes to secondary resource. For example, any financial application, they have primary backend in US East 1 and a disaster recovery site they have in EU West 2. So if primary site fails, the traffic fails over automatically to the secondary region. That's how it is, right? So that's how failover routing can be done. I hope it is clear. Clear to everyone? Now, failover is also clear, I hope, to everyone. Clear to everyone? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lavanya, Bhushan. Thank you. Thank you, Tanak. Rash, Charan. Involve more charges as we have additional. Yes. Again, depends upon the use case, how many servers and the request coming accordingly. Yes, of course, it charges. Thank you so much for your responses. Next, we have is routing policy geolocation by the name suggests. Geolocation routing policy, which routes the user based on country or continent they are accessing from. For example, any e-commerce platform. E-commerce platform routes Indian users, right? Let's say Europe users to Europe and US users to US region. So yes, just for GDPR compliant setup. Okay, so yes, it is done using geolocation policy. And you can direct the traffic accordingly by selecting this policy. Next we have is geoproximity. It is almost similar, but still it is different because there is a traffic bias when you have proximity. Traffic route traffic based upon geographic location and optional bias using Route 53 traffic flow. For example, any particular media company, they want to users, serve US users from US East 1, but prefers more users to be served from US West 2 by applying the bias to reduce the latency and cost. So where you have higher bias, okay, so there it works. Means you're not only users, it will check the resources also. Resources are available in that particular region near to the user so that you can easily deploy your application. That's how it is. So there it works. I hope it is clear. Okay to everyone? Now, next we have is next routing policy is multi-value answer. So let's discuss that as well. Multi-value answer policy, as the picture suggests, when you request, so there is Route 53 which returns multiple IPs for a DNS query, like round robin plus health check all done. For example, there is a web application with multiple backend servers behind a load balancer. Behind a load balancer, it is sitting. If one fails, its IP is excluded automatically. So if you can see here, it is unhealthy, it will be returned and you can direct your traffic for other. No, that's how we can use multi-routing, multi-value answer. It gives you multiple options. So it checks the health of all, and if it is not fine, then it will return that particular request, and then remaining will be directed to your regions. That's how it is. So it can handle multiple values. Now, yes, I got one question in chat. Okay, so I think Ray asked this, how does this work with load balancer? You're asking for Route 53, right? So, yes, first what you do, you register your domain in your Route 53. And in this picture also, you can see the same, right? First of all, you are registering your domain using Route 53, let's say myapp.com. So here you are creating the alias record. Either you select A or 4 times A record in your Route 53. That will point to your load balancer. Each ELB is fronting your EC2 containers or Lambda behind the scenes, right? So that's how it can be done. So here, your Route 53 evaluates your routing policy and return the best load balancer IP. Right? Got it? I hope it is clear. Right. And I think Saurabh also already have shared the answer. I hope it is clear. Okay. The next we have is, I hope Divya, your difference is also clear. You asked the difference between failover routing and load balancer. Both are totally different, right? Routing is a policy and load balancer is a service which balances your load. Okay. For example, let's say when you are using your Route 53, that you are using at DNS level, of course. Load balancer is checking your health for application load balancer, or if you have configured your network load balancer. Route 53 monitor entire resource or the region, but when you're choosing your load balancer, that will be doing it for individual target. For example, for EC2 behind your ALB, there it works. And failover between like your entire site or different ELB or regions can be done using Route 53. But when you're using load balancer, It will be done for instances or the targets in your ELB. That's how it is. Let's say if your ELB, let me raise this first. Let's say if your ALB is in, let's say your ALB is here. This is your ALB, right? It is down. Route, right? So now your DNS, this route 53, switches to ALB in your another region, EU West 1 or 2. Right? That is done by route 53. Now, what is done by load balancer? If your one instance fails, so ALB stops routing the traffic to this instance. It will route the traffic to another instance. Okay? I hope you understood. It is at region level and it is inside the region. Got it? It is outside. Route 53 is your global service, right? It is managing your network globally, failover globally. In case of load balancer, it is managed inside. Got it?
And that's a wrap on Amazon Route 53. Now you know how to manage your DNS records, set up routing policies, and ensure high availability using failover routing. These are key skills for cloud architects, AWS solutions architects, and network engineers. Skills that will definitely come up in interviews for AWS related roles. And if you are looking to accelerate your AWS career and dive deeper into cloud technologies, be sure to join our free AWS Job Rating Masterclass. We will help you master AWS, build a strong cloud portfolio, and get you ready to land top tier roles at leading companies. Seats are limited, so make sure you grab yours today. Thanks for watching, and you can check out our previous videos on AWS over here.